Prompted by a simple question on Twitter, the Northern Ireland Assembly became the first legislature in the UK and Ireland to host a Tweetup. The event, hosted by the Speaker of the Assembly, Mr William Hay, MLA, and compared by Mark Mallet, was attended by more than 80 people. The aim of the event was to encourage more people to visit Parliament buildings, but more importantly, give us an opportunity to meet with people who follow us on Twitter. Those who attended were given an exclusive hour-long tour of Parliament buildings, which incorporated the Assembly and Senate chambers, the library and the Great Hall.
I have to be honest and say, for us, we don't really look at social media as being anything external to our normal communications. For us, it's one and the same. It's kind of in our DNA now. It's very much integrated in our communications planning, and we certainly don't look at it as a bolt-on extra.
Are we getting the most out of Facebook, do you think, or how do you use the two social networking devices differently?
It's so easy to access MLAs and media people like yourself, Mark, and to get the latest updated to-date information. So I think that Twitter ultimately is probably the better tool to use in that way.
The Assembly will be using Twitter more and more and doing a lot more of social networking. So what do you guys want to see more of in the next term of the Assembly?
I was just wondering, would there be any movement on, as it is so interesting hearing from MLAs quite candidly on Twitter during debates, would there be any movement on restrictions on members having their phones on in the chamber?
I think the problem is their interference with the microphones, and the Speaker has on a number of occasions, correct me if I'm wrong, Colonel Ask, I'm not saying that you're guilty, but the Speaker has called on people to make sure that their mobiles are turned off.
I think there's a place for social media. I really do. I think there's a place for conversation, but the whole point of the chamber is that we're meant to be debating amongst legislators, and we're meant to be having a conversation focused on an issue between people who have been sent there by the people to decide on that issue. And I think widening it out at that moment in time, when you're maybe debating a piece of legislation or having a debate on a serious issue, is not necessarily, I think, the best thing to do.
What would you like to see more of in terms of whether it be online through niassembly.gov.uk, through Twitter or through Facebook? Yes, sir.
I think one of the things that politicians forget sometimes is that social media is social. And a lot of the time people are so worried about comments that they might get on Facebook, or so they don't actually interact with people through the media.
I would just like to see more of a connection with politics and the youth, because I, for one, know nothing about politics, but would love to know a lot more about what is going on around me.
Designed by followers of the @NIAssembly Twitter account, the event provided an opportunity for guests to voice their opinions and discuss their experiences of social networking.
And are you putting these up on Twitter, or do you have a website? We have a Twitter, but a lot of from a lot of perspectives, a lot of people my age, I'm 19, we want to put our age, teenagers, would not really use, especially younger ones. Twitter hasn't really caught on.
We caught up with some Twitter followers to find out their thoughts on the event.
Phil, can I ask you, why did you come to the Tweetup tonight?
To get involved in the politics, because I want to learn about how the politics works and how the NI Assembly it basically interacts with the people through online mediums.
And did you feel that you were able to get answers to your questions tonight at the Tweetup?
Yeah, I guess I've found out a few times recently that various organisations, including the Belfast City Council and the Assembly, that they're actually very interested in engaging with the public through these mediums of being open and participating.
Do you think journalists should be using Twitter more?
Definitely, yes. I think it's a real modern way to get communicating with people.
Wow, what an interest shown online over the last 40 minutes or so, just looking at the Twitter sites, and the hashtag NIA Tweetup has really caught on this evening. And please do keep the discussion going over the coming hours, days, weeks, whatever, and hopefully we will get to host more of these sort of events